You're going to very, very soon, okay? And you may even lose cell service as well, especially given the fact that we get these 120-mile-an-hour winds. So far, so good, guys, with the cell, especially with 128-mile-an-hour wind gust now at Lake Charles. Just incredible wind coming up this way. Again, a bona fide Cat 3, almost a Cat 4 with the wind here coming up in toward Lake Charles. The water's piling up. Don't go outside if we get in the eye, guys. We're not done yet. We still have to go through the bottom side of this and potentially here in Lake Charles, the eastern side of this. Over 100,000 without power and climbing rapidly in Louisiana alone.
Add some resistance. Sarah, your Movie Plus trial is about to expire. Do you want to continue or cancel?
Capital One knows life doesn't update you about your credit card. So meet Eno, the Capital One assistant that looks out for charges that might surprise you and helps you fix them. Another way Capital One is watching out for your money when you're not.
Please send them in. Start your message with Force 13 all in text. Is the southern eye wall strong? Probably.
I
would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so. Gotta be four winds on all sides, you would think.
Radar doesn't suggest it, but I'm sure the winds in that side are just as strong as the other sides.
And as people start to get into the eye of this hurricane here, I must stress to them to not venture out during the eye because depending on where you are in the eye, the calm can last maybe 1 minute to maybe as much as about 30 minutes or so, depending on where you are and relative to the center of the eye here. So those of you guys that are going to be in the eye, you're going to see a sharp decrease in winds here, and it's going to pretty much be like a normal summer day for however long you're going to be in the eye for, depending on where you are in relation to the actual center of the eye. And then just as fast, the wind's going to pick back up again with a vengeance here, and it's going to be another rough few minutes there as the secondary eye wall hit. A power flash there.
Oh.
A couple of them.
They're really bright power flashes.
They're right there.
And again, this camera is situated in Jennings, Louisiana, which isn't going to get the full-on inner eye wall of this hurricane here, and you can still see, regardless, it's still shaking really bad there. And as you saw earlier, the power flashed earlier. Still surprised we got this camera here. Went down for about 10, 15, 20 minutes there, and came back on. So really interesting stuff there.
It is quite remarkable. I think some areas lost power there out of that as well.
It looks like it. And the camera's struggling a little bit here with Wi-Fi.
Really struggling.
And again, this is in Jennings, Louisiana. And this camera is not going to get, I repeat, not going to get those inner 150-mile-per-hour winds out of this storm. It's going to be just off to the west, those 150-mile-per-hour winds from this camera.
You think this is bad? So, this is the outer bands.
Yeah, the outer eye wall here, pretty much. So just imagine what it's like in Lake Charles right now.
And speaking of Lake Charles, I do have another camera from a person named Jeff
Piotrowski.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if we could use that footage because I know he's a storm chaser here, so I don't know if we could use that.
You can take a short look at what's going on over there, and you can see very much similar conditions from what we were looking at earlier, and you can see the rain hammering down, very strong winds. Everyone is hunkering down.
As they should.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, you're given days, hours in advance that this was heading for you, and I just only hope the people that decided to make the poor choice to stay in here in Lake Charles and places surrounding this inner eye wall here have hunkered down and are staying safe in this eye wall here of a category 4, 150 mile per hour storm here.
Yeah, I mean, it would not like the people who are out to record this incredible footage of the storm. These people are typically professionals who have had years of experience and training in knowing where to safest places to film these storms. But again, if even if you really want to take footage of storm like this, it's not a good idea unless you're professional. I'm trying to be honest about it. You really can't risk. You really can't you're really putting your life at risk if you're venturing outside in these conditions. Like this is basically a tornado that you're dealing with. Although it's not as extreme as that. Most usually you're dealing with about EF3 equivalent tornado force winds here. So that's still pretty. Those are still really strong winds. You definitely need to take the same precautions as you would with a tornado.
What we can't see, certainly because of power outages and the time that this came in, is what's happening to the water. We know that we're maximizing the storm surge in many of these areas. And remember, we're going to hold it up in that eastern eye wall because the wind is going to keep pushing it inland.
And if there is a silver lining to this, is that this storm is moving at a constant rate of speed. It's not going to stick around like Florida State or Harvey did. It's going to be in and out in less than a day here. So it's not going to stick around here. It's going to be a brutal 3 hours for you guys, but it's not going to stick around.
Making the water potentially even higher. So, guys, I hope you heeded the warnings because this is exactly what we thought we would get. We just won't know until
we're
first light tomorrow just how extensive the damage is and what people here in Lake Charles have been going through. And Steph, if
obviously,
like
if you are in a surge-prone area,
it's not pleasant. We just happen to be lucky enough to be on high ground right now.
Obviously, you have to think about that as well when you're taking cover because the first
and have a little protection too, right, Jim? I mean, you still have a little bit of protection. You can hear that whistling of the wind from the backside where we were for all those hours with no protection, just hammering. I mean, it wouldn't be safe for anyone to be out there no matter what you were wearing. So Jim does have a little protection from his building. I just want to give that as an FYI.
Like I said, you guys had many days and many hours in advance to prepare and evacuate for this storm, and now it's on your doorstep. And looks like we just lost the camera to Jennings again. Oh no, it's back now. You guys had many days and many hours to prepare and evacuate for this, and now it's on your doorstep here, and you got to deal with it here. For those of you guys that stayed, I'm sure once this hurricane passes, you're not going to stay for another hurricane after this.
That is what a category 4 eye wall
I don't think you'd want to be going through 150 mile winds again.
It sounds more like a freight train outside. You get more of that whistling sound as you come inside, and wind gusts have been up to 128 miles an hour, and it's going to be a close call for us in the eye. And you got to stay tuned to find out, do we make it into the eye, or do we stay in that eastern eye wall? And then, by the way, regardless, we're going to have to go through the backside side of the system, which is going to be just as strong. And now that we have debris weekend and has been flying around, that's going to pick that up and toss it around as well. So things will be getting worse as the night.
Yeah, I heard that a
in the
lot
morning hours at this point. I don't
here
even know what time it is, to be honest with you. As we head through the morning hours,
when I was evacuating
it's going to get worse
to gain
before it
Texas
gets
to
better.
get away from
And
it,
it might get better for a minute if you get in that
my
eye,
family was
but then
questioning
it's
whether or
going to
not
get
it was the
really
right
bad
choice to
again for that
evacuate
second eye
from
wall.
the
It's not
storm.
like that other
Then when
eye
we
wall is
went
going to
back
be
down to go
all
to
that,
Corpus
it's
Christi,
not
we had
gonna
to
be
pass
weaker.
through a Furio,
The eye
which
wall
got
is that
through
strongest
high-end
part.
Category
And
3
then
force
if you live in
winds.
places like
And when we passed through
Shreveport,
that
Little
part
Rock,
of the Furio, we
Memphis, this is all headed
saw
your way. Obviously,
lots,
its interaction with land
lots of
is going to
considerable
slow it
damage,
down.
and
It's going to
I
tear it
believe
apart and
once
whatnot. But it is still,
once we
when you have a
passed that
Cat
area
4
of
that's
Texas,
just buzzsawing
everybody
through,
changed their
it
minds
takes
about
time for that to
whether or not it was
come down,
a
for
good
it to
decision or
wind
not to
down.
evacuate from Corpus, and we got really lucky. Got really lucky with that storm. But this storm here, Laura has 150 mile-per-hour winds as of this latest update. We're gonna get a new one. We get a new one hourly, I believe. Still,
Stronger than Harvey, by the way.
Harvey was 130 at Landfall. This is 150.
Special K.
So it's a 20 mile-per-hour difference here we're talking about in winds. But unlike Harvey, this storm is not going to be staying around, like I said, doing 15 miles per hour. So it's not going to be staying around. It's going to be a really scary 3 hours here, I know that. But it's going to be in and out here in less than a day.
Then bring it all home
There's
with
a silver lining
contactless
to that.
carside pickup.
There are now
The hardest part is deciding
over
where to start.
188,000 people without power in
Garden.
Louisiana, and bringing the total to over 200,000 people without power because of Florida.
Movement still north-northwest, looking at the latest satellite as well. I gotta say, even as it's moving inland, it doesn't really appear to weaken very much, or maybe just a little bit. I would still say quite confidently 140 mile-an-hour winds. National Hurricane Center are likely to stick with 150 for the time being until their full advisory, maybe even that long, I'm not sure. Their next hourly bulletin will be in 15 minutes. I'm not sure how long we're going to go on for here, because usually we run live coverage until the storm makes landfall. Obviously it's already done that, but it is still an extremely powerful storm, so we'll probably stay for another hour after this. But it's been an incredible evening so far.
Geico for RVs. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
From staircases supporting a grand entrance to floors kissed by bare feet.
And I heard a lot of people earlier debating, whether this was a Cat 5, Cat 4. At this point, it doesn't matter, honestly. It's still a dangerous storm regardless of intensity here, and should be taken as though it was a Category 5, because this is a dangerous storm with, I believe National Hurricane Center said it had, they forecasted 20 feet of storm surge, right, if I'm not mistaken, Nathan, right?
Incredible prices. Check out this
The
Jayco dress,
landfall zone, yeah.
$14. Boho weekend
So
lunch,
still a
$25.
storm to take seriously here, regardless of intensity. No matter if it's Cat 4, Cat 5, Cat 3, it doesn't matter. Still a really dangerous situation here unfolding in Louisiana here.
Got it. What about that
as the
driver's
storm
side
moves
mirror that
inland.
just fell off when you backed out of the garage? Got it. Or a taillight your brother-in-law broke with his bad golf swing? Got it. At CarParts.com, we know the most important part of all is the one you need to get your car back on the road. We carry a huge inventory of parts, even collision parts, with savings of up to 50% off. All delivered to your door and covered by our 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Get the right part for the right price right now at CarParts.com.
This is epic.
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
As well, Tim, what are your thoughts? You were streaming with us earlier. How have things changed?
I think conditions are still just as bad as they were before you came in for the landfall. We knew this was going to be bad. All the signs were pointing to it. The recon was clearly indicating that this was going to be a beast of a storm. You could argue if it was a Category 4, Category 5. That's something that they'll look at postseason analysis, and you can argue the semantics over that all you want to. But for those that are in Cameron, Hackberry, and Lake Charles, to them it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a Cat 4 or Cat 5. They're feeling the brunt of this, and some of the damage that we're seeing from off these other storm chaser feeds is pretty harrowing. I mean, getting bad down there, just from what we've seen off of some of these webcams and Storm Chaser feeds.
Devon was quite convinced that it wasn't anywhere near a Category 5, but as you say, you know, this, if it's 20 feet, that's a Category 5 storm surge.
Hello, America. Welcome back to continued coverage of Hurricane Laura. You're taking a look at a live image in Lake Charles. That's right. You're watching the storm cam, and well, one of the byproducts you often have from a landfalling hurricane, you know, you have rising water, and that is what we're seeing. Exhibit A in Lake Charles, and this is just a small sample we're going to be seeing across much of the region that could be affecting millions of people, not only in Louisiana, but even into parts of Texas. Welcome back, everyone. I'm meteorologist Reynolds, recruiting from Beaumont, Texas. Beaumont, Texas, for the time being, dealing with occasional bouts of wind and some rain that has been kind of a pulsing effect. It's almost like a breathing organism. You have an inhale and an exhale. Every now and then, a flash of lightning here and there. We do have a light that keeps on flashing back and forth. That is not the lightning. If we did have any lightning, we would be seeking cover. By the way, Jim Cantori and Stephanie are seeking cover at this point. It's all about safety at the Weather Channel. And the key takeaway, if you've been watching their incredible narrative this evening about what has been coming from Hurricane Laura, they are experiencing parts of the eye wall, the ferocity of it. Mark, I got to tell you, one thing at Stephanie, gosh almighty, when she was inside the building, you could hear that piercing
so-called
wail.
peak happened
That was
whilst
the
I
voice
was
of Hurricane
resting up
Laura.
for this
I mean,
stream,
what
so I
an
didn't see any
eerie,
of
eerie
that.
thing to
So
consider. Mark, can you
I'll
please,
have
for
to
the
look
sake
back
of our
at that
viewers who
one
may
as
be
well,
tuning in
but
across much of the region,
I'll take Devon's
I'm
word
sure
for
there
it
may
for
be
the time
some
being.
confusion because you got a lot of folks that are moving here. They may not be so weather savvy when it
But
comes to the
people
tropics.
suggesting that it
Landfalling system,
was
but a
getting close to
tornado
Category 5
threat.
status.
Can you share that with them?
Yeah, you know,
Devon
that is
said that
very
people were
common with
just going
landfalling
really
tropical
crazy over,
systems because of how the winds change with height. You get enough spin to the
faulty
atmosphere that we do have
data on
a
the
tornado
recon
threat, and
flight
that's
data.
largely featured in these outer rings, and we'll get to that in just a second because we do have some tornado warnings popping up off to the east. What I want to talk to you about first is this presentation on the infrared satellite. This is a very well-formed storm, maybe a little bit of a wiggle off to the west. What that could mean for those of you watching in Lake Charles is that even as we may get into part of the eye and get a brief calm, don't go outside. Don't expect this to be a long-duration break, as you may very quickly wind up on the eastern side of the eye and wind up in that eastern eye wall. Now, this is a view of the radar, but the radar is actually coming all the way from Houston. Both the Lake Charles and the Fort Polk radars are not currently operable. Maybe a communication issue from the Lake Charles office, which, remember, if you were watching earlier today, that office was left because it was not safe. And so to continue that, Reynolds, there is a tornado warning off to the east. Tornado warning continues for Iberia, Lafayette, and St. Martin until 2:15. Fast-moving spin-up tornadoes, very common in these landfalling systems.
Yeah, you got a good argument for it. But
hey, Mark, another question for you. Right now, we've been talking so much what happened down in places like Cameron as it made its way into Lake Charles. Right now, we're talking so much about Lake Charles, understandably so. But can you tell our viewers what they can expect farther upstream? Because we know the story is not stopping there. We're going to follow this for days to come. Upstream, places like DeRidder, spots like, say, Shreveport. What do you think we can expect as we make our way forward in the next several hours?
All right, so right now it's all about Lake Charles because that eye wall is approaching, but it's not going to stay there, right? This is not just an event that stays at the coast and ends. This is going to be hurricane-force winds that goes much further inland, approaching the western towns west of Alexandria by morning. It's going to take the next several hours to go from Lake Charles to somewhere west of Alexandria. Now, this is just one model. I'm using it to give you the flavor, what to expect with these winds. And you can see the wind scale up here, that there could still be 85 to 95 plus gusts associated with this storm. Okay, these are significant wind gusts. Now, a little bit more wiggle room as we look towards this time frame towards tomorrow afternoon. There are some models that bring this center very close to Shreveport, others that are basically near Monroe.
By this point, and Cameron is about to get the second half of the storm now,
around
as if the first half wasn't bad enough.
And then we go all the way to Little Rock, Reynolds, by the time we get into tomorrow night. Gosh, this is going to be a long-duration event. There could be wind damage all the way through Arkansas with this, easily through the day.
When I was out to get a drink, of course, I had to refresh the page, but when I came back, I guess there appears to have been a power flash
they may see this and say, oh,
most
this is a
of
world
where this
away.
camera is situated
This
at
could
was
be
without
going
power,
into
but now, of
parts
course,
say, the Ohio Valley
most of
Northeast.
the
Is
lights
that
are back
correct?
on now.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the official
I imagine that's going to be an off and on thing throughout the night here, where the power's going to go off and maybe come back on, maybe not come back on. And again, this camera is situated in Jennings here. As you can see on that radar shot, Jennings is not going to be getting into that core winds of 150 miles per hour like Lake Charles is in right now and about to get into the ice soon, if not right now. Jennings is not going to be in those 150 mile an hour winds, so keep that in mind when you're looking at the Jennings webcam footage, is that they're not going to be getting those 150 mile per hour winds. They're just barely probably going to scrape the outer eye wall here, if anything.
Very strong wind event into portions of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. So do not put your guard down on this system. Do not turn your back on Laura, is the bottom line here, as we could have very strong winds going all the way across the Appalachian chain and Reynolds into the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast through this weekend.
15 miles an hour. Cameras go about 3.5 hours, and then
unbelievable, Mark. There's so many moving parts of this as this pinwheel of destruction
And
continues
like I
to
said
march
earlier,
its way
there is
to
a
the
silver
north
lining to
offshore,
this, is that the
still
storm is
story's
moving
got
at
a
a
long way
decent
from
rate of
finishing.
speed at
Let's go
15
right now
miles
to
per
Kansas
hour.
live image. I
As
want
of
you
the
to
last
listen in.
update, and of course,
This
the
is from
National
our
Hurricane Center will update pretty much any minute now with an hourly update to see if the intensity and the wind speeds have changed here in a few seconds, and of course, Nathan will let us all know
and they have. It's down to 140 miles per hour and a pressure of 941 millibars. Eye wall of Laura pushing inland across southwestern Louisiana. Catastrophic storm surge, extreme winds and flash flooding ongoing. The eye wall of Laura will continue to move inland across southwestern Louisiana during the next several hours. Take cover now. Treat these imminent extreme winds as if a tornado is approaching and move immediately to the safe room in your shelter. Take action now to protect your life. The safest place to be during a major landfalling hurricane is in a reinforced interior room away from windows. Get under a table or other piece of sturdy furniture. Use mattresses, blankets or pillows to cover your head and body. Remain in place through the passage of these life-threatening conditions.
100% pure
A National Ocean Service tide station at Calcasieu Pass, Louisiana, observed a water level rise of 9.19 feet at 1 a.m. The Lake Charles, Louisiana airport recently reported a sustained wind of 85 miles an hour and a gust of 128 miles per hour. University of Florida Observing Tower near Lake Charles recently reported a sustained wind of 86, gusting to 112. A Texas Coastal Ocean Observing Network site at Sabine Pass recently reported sustained winds of 74 with a gust to 90. And now they have it moving due north.
And we've upgraded her with the sonic shield.
Lake Charles looks like it's in the eye. This thing moving north.
Impressive.
And it will probably curve north-northeast soon.
Jake from State Farm.
Here's the deal. With the Drive Safe and Save app, you'll save up to 30% for being a safe driver and get a discount just for signing up.
Well played, Jake from State Farm. As usual.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Wow. Just incredible winds we're seeing.
133 miles an hour. Gust.
At Bear Naked, soft-baked granola clusters are hand-picked by our very own Bear Naked granola bears. Honey, oats, nuts, and
so 140 mile an hour winds, a pressure of 941 millibars. That's the latest from the National Hurricane Center, so it's gone down slightly. And the warnings that are in place remain
earn a free night. The open road is open again, and wherever you're headed, Choice Hotels is there. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
And thankfully, again, like I said earlier, the storm is moving at a decent rate of speed, 15 miles per hour. Not going to be sticking around like some of the past storms we've had, like Florence and Harvey. It's going to be in and out in less than a day here, thankfully. However, that being said, I believe the National, I think it was, I forgot it was the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center was saying some parts of Louisiana may not be able to be looked into for at least a week.
Yep, it's going to be chaos down there for several days and weeks.
It went from a whisper to a roar. Lake Charles, Louisiana, you're seeing this video here. Now you can't see wind, but you can sure see what it pushes around. This is a very heavy, several-ton satellite truck being rocked by intense winds, complements of Hurricane Laura. Hard to believe this system was in the tropics just a little over a week ago. A puff of clouds here or there, then brought some heavy rain to our territory of Puerto Rico, continued to make its way across the northern Caribbean. It made its way to the Gulf of Mexico, and then exploded in power to a major hurricane. Made landfall, if you're just tuning in. That's right, made landfall in Louisiana, at Cameron, Louisiana, at 1 o'clock this morning, local time, and now we're still feeling its fury. This system, my goodness, this is something that we're going to be talking about for years and years to come. And I can guarantee you that as a meteorologist, you know that things like this can happen. You know it can be the stuff of nightmares, but you hope it never occurs. But this is the reality we're dealing with this morning. Welcome back, everyone. I'm meteorologist Reynolds Wolf. You're watching continued coverage here on the Weather Channel. It is all about Hurricane Laura. It truly is. And we're going to watch the story affecting so many people. I got to tell you, from this vantage point where I've been, we've seen here in Beaumont some interesting things. Every now and then you hear snapping of trees off in the distance. We had, I want to say, about an hour and 15 minutes ago, a loud pop-off in the distance. To be honest with you, with the darkness, it hasn't revealed what the source was. Could have been a blown transformer, could have been a down tree, could have been both. We have no idea. That revelation will come.
And wasn't there Faye, I believe, too?
What we do know is that we've got power outages. Our building where we happen to be, where we have Van Trailer right there safely in a good spot. Right now, our building has power.
Season here.
And speaking of Jennings, Isaac, because I know that's where that webcam you have is out of.
And it just went down.
Yeah, and I expected it will.
Mark, in terms of the winds here, I think the strongest we've had, maybe some gusts up to 40, 45, but I know that the strongest
we just lost the camera
still
again.
On the way. Back to you, Mark.
Hopefully not for the final time.
There's a lot of wind still to come with this system. We are not done by
satellite
any
imagery
stretch.
showing that the eye is getting much shallower as time goes on. This is expected. Eventually, that eye will continue to shrivel up and collapse. We're hoping that will happen sooner rather than later, but it could be a couple of hours till that happens. The southern side of the eye wall there is a little bit fractured.
10 miles
northern side
southwest of Lake
still blowing
Charles
up
for that center
convection
point.
on the northern
and there is still
eastern
at least
sides.
some question: does Lake Charles get into that center? Does it get into the eye when all is said and done? Let's take a look here as we zoom in onto the path of this storm. From the satellite, it certainly looks like we're going to get at least a window where Lake Charles gets a bit of a break from the wind. But remember, that satellite's coming down at an angle, and we've turned that even a little bit farther. You can see that the eastern eye wall is actually still cranking. That right side, that eastern eye wall has all the onshore flow, has all that action with it. It is going to be a beast of a time on that eastern side. And Lake Charles, even if you wind up getting a little bit of a break, you're going to be on that east side.
We might hold on to hope that the highest winds have now been reported,
considering
that the storm's now moving inland and it's starting to weaken.
We can go outside and check out the damage, check out what occurred, because we know there's damage. We've seen it firsthand. That debris is going to get picked up, blown around, thrown around, and so be careful in the Lake Charles area. Reynolds reporting to us from Beaumont. He's on that western side, seeing banding features coming through. We go off to the eastern side farther, and we have some tornado warnings to tell you about as well. Iberia, Lafayette, and St. Martin still under a tornado warning until 2:15. There is at least a chance of these quick spin-up tornadoes. These things are really moving a couple of different spots of rotation north of New Iberia. So Reynolds, this is a wind event in southwest Louisiana and eastern Texas. Then continuing a new update on that warning just popping up. The same storm. Gosh, this is going to be just a bear for the next several hours in Louisiana tomorrow, and really through the day today into tomorrow, going all the way through Arkansas.
No, don't say that.
It's like something out of Greek mythology, like a hydra. We're talking about a creature that has got a variety of heads and so many threats. If we can we talk a little bit more about the tornado? Can we talk a little bit more about the tornadic threat? You know, Mark, we always compare and contrast tropical systems and what they've done in the past and try to apply that knowledge to the present and then to the future. Recently, we had Isaias, and we had the tornadic activity that struck the Carolinas. I mean, there are places that are going to take a while still to clean up at this point. But when it comes to these landfalling tropical systems and these tornadoes, they are typically small, but they can be just as destructive, can't they?
Oh, absolutely. They are still tornadoes. And you know what? What's interesting is each landfalling system
starting
is
to struggle for webcam content. What was this?
We've gone through a hurricane already.
This is webcam off of Grand Isle, Louisiana.
Tornado warnings winds, almost to this,
which is
slightly
way,
weaker storm when
way
it came ashore.
to the east of where this hurricane is at.
Location, and yet
but I'm not really able to find any working cameras that are testing the tail of time here in this hurricane. So this is the best I got for now.
You know it's bad if the technology's all failed. The 2 radars are down. Most of the live webcams are down. Certainly, I think all the static ones are.
All the way to Little Rock, maybe to Memphis and Jackson, a threat of tornadoes.
Really terrible conditions in southwestern.
Mark, impeccable work, man. Thanks so much for making the complex understandable. I'll tell you, we got a long night ahead, and you know who's been dealing with a long night so far? The great people in Lake Charles. Louisiana. As we find Stephanie Abrams, Stephanie, I know you guys have battered about, you're dealing with the eye wall. Can you give us the latest of what you've had over, say, the last 10 minutes or so?
So the eye is now moving over
Okay,
Lake
so what we
Charles.
did is we were inside for our last live shot because they locked all the doors. We found one door they let us come out of.
We're going to stay on the air here until half past now because we're really exhausting all of the things that we can see.
That is damage being done right now. We're safe. We're literally in the back corner of the parking garage. And what I'm doing here is I'm patiently waiting for those winds to drop. We are getting in the eye of this system.
And after the stream finishes at half past, you can still keep track of Laura on the satellite imagery feed, which is ongoing on the 413 US channel, so 413 US, and also our 24/7 storm tracker on the main channel, which is always running.
It wasn't a totally clean eye. Some of them are very crisp and clean.
This is the latest
some of them are
right now.
cloudy.
Still some
we'll have
very
to see how this
severe
one plays out. I
bands.
haven't gotten a good chance
The eye wall,
to look at the radar
northern
with
eye
the
wall,
moving
very
around and
severe by the
whatnot.
looks of it. The southern
But
one,
I do know
not
that
quite
we're
so
very
much
close to
according
it
to
the
this
last I saw
radar,
it.
but that
So
might
I'm
be
just
fully
patiently waiting for the winds to die down because there's a lot of debris out there right now, and we don't want to be out there. And I mean, you can hear it.
Get wind speeds of possibly major hurricane force.
And you hear those winds still whistling. But it is.
Is there still
I'm hoping they threw up the radar.
still
I
extreme
can't
wind
see
warnings in
anything right
effect?
now.
I would imagine so.
I'm going to look at the radar on my phone.
Said earlier it was till 3 o'clock.
So we're all on guard. The whole team is here. This is a team effort. We have Jordan and we have Chris Bruin with us. We have Tevin Wooten with us and their crews as well. And so we're all in it together. We're all helping each other. We're one big team out here, and everyone's keeping their eyes open and helping each other. And
go ahead.
There was a data that came in
we're just listening right now, right? And so as I look at the radar, I mean, we're really in that eye. Well, we're right on the edge, I should say. We're actually very much right on the edge. So these are going to be some of your absolute worst winds, and then it's going to be
I can confirm the latest observations coming in. Peak sustained winds at 98 miles per hour with 2 gusts of 132 miles per hour.
But I can see on my radar that we're getting into that eye.
Yep, so
it's not going to last super long. Maybe Mark back at the studio or one of the weather producers can give me an idea of how long that
and
eye
a minimum
will
pressure
last.
of 28.25. I don't know without being millibars because the millibars conversion thing is broke on it.
And then also, how much time do I have
in inches, 28.25 inches. I don't know what that would be in millibars because the conversion is broken on that rating for millibars.
15 to 30 mile per hour winds inside the eye. So that often means that there are some small mesovortices rotating around, that there may be some clouds
that appears to
above
be the
you.
lowest so far recorded.
Plus,
at the Lake Charles
we're looking at this from a skewed
airport.
look from the satellite,
again,
right? Because we're looking down at
98 mile an hour sustained winds with gusts up to 132 miles per hour according to the last update from the Lake Charles Regional Airport.
Of exactly where you are with regards to the eye. There's a little bit of a tilt involved. What I think might happen, Steph, is you'll have maybe minutes, not hours, in that eye before the eastern edge catches up to you. And so you got to be real careful. All of a sudden, those winds are going to come screaming south to north again.
And you hear all the destruction that's happening, right? So now all that debris that's been ripped apart with this first eye wall is now free to easily fly. Not just like, oh, we have more to rip off. You have now these huge chunks of debris that can easily go flying. And that's why that second eye wall is a lot more dangerous.
When we got the Jennings webcam back up again.
We'll be watching for, and we'll probably have to, be be inside or maybe this location for the second eye wall because there's just absolutely too much debris, let alone the winds at a, I'm blanking, what do we get to, 132? Sorry, there's been a lot happening tonight here. I wrote it down. 132, right.
Yeah, it appears so. The camera's shaking a lot, so I can't tell.
So my memory,
but it does appear to be because I see the lights on it.
Right? So we are feeling those Cat 3 gusts.
Of course, you're gonna get scared by that watermark they have on the thing there, but
I'm looking at the radar. I mean, things should be calming down. But
yeah, and I'm assuming there's probably gonna be a lot more coming out because as we get into this eye here, the trained emergency management officials are probably gonna start to do some looks and surveys around the area before the secondary eye hits, while they have this area of relative calm to survey the damage. And again, this webcam is from I already forgot the name of it. From
Jennings. This is one of the places though that won't get the eye, so you'll actually, in some ways, it's worse because there's no break for the eye, and you're getting those strong winds all the way through, doubling the amount of time of sustained winds.
The winds have been so bad and there's been too much debris.
And I'm just looking at Houston radar.
This eye and these winds will calm down already, and we can get out there and assess some of the damage. But for right now, as you can see, it's just too dangerous. So we're going to hold back here with our crew. Everyone is staying safe. Mark, I know you're there, and I'm just so curious because I'm looking at this radar, and again, I'm in the field. You obviously have much better technology there where you are. I'm just surprised that it's still cranking like it is.
Yeah, I think what's happening is that because we're looking at it from a radar site that's off to the side, we're looking at it from Houston, that you're actually a lot closer to that eastern edge than you think you are. It's not from the Lake Charles radar, so that's the skewed view that we were talking about. That's why I think you're actually right on that eastern
we're just going to stay in this eye wall the whole time?
I think there's going to be a break, but it's not going to be as long as you want it to be. This side is slightly closer to Lake Charles. It's wider in the center, and so I think you will get a brief window where you'll be just inside that eastern eye wall. But the storm is actually jogging west and north, and so you'll get shoved right back in that eastern eye wall. It's going to be a brief window to kind of survey what's happening before all that debris could get launched into the air again. Kind of like the dragonfly.
Kind of like the dragonfly, right? Well, okay. Where we're at right now, and that's why you always have to watch the Weather Channel, right? Because if you just look at your radar on your app like I am, you forget these things like which radar sites are up and how that will affect what you're actually seeing. So Mark, I'm glad that you reminded me of that and also pointed that out for me. Let's talk about, however, is this losing any strength? Because it still looks quite powerful right now, if you ask me. But you would think it would start maybe weakening a little now that's interacting with land.
Yeah, so it's spinning down a little, but not as fast as you'd want it to. It's still a very formidable Category 4 hurricane, 140 miles per hour for that top wind speed. And because it came in as strong as it did, it's going to take a real long time to spin down these winds. What I can show you is the forecast here for what these winds will look like over the next several hours, going through the overnight and into tomorrow morning. Look at these winds as forecast going up towards Alexandria. These light blue colors on this graphic correspond to wind gusts that could still be over 90. This is by 7 a.m. tomorrow, wind gusts 90 plus as far north as Alexandria. The Shreveport to Monroe corridor, as this thing will expand, lose some wind, but expand in width, could still be having 60 to 80 mile per hour winds through noon on Thursday, noon through the day today, noon Thursday, and then by Little Rock, getting all the way to Little Rock at the end of the day Thursday. It'll take until almost midnight. This is going to take a long, long time, Stephanie, to really get rid of all that wind. Yes, we'll have a drop, but not nearly as much as we want it to this quickly.
So Lake Charles Jules, we have 1 minute left here. You know, all those towns just to the east of Lake Charles are going to be sitting in this eye wall the whole time. Possibly we're going to be sitting in the eye wall the whole time. And it's going to be devastating for people, absolutely devastating. And this is something that we will be watching and waiting. You know, I see we have a whole team here, so everyone's eyes are in a different direction. I see arms that start pointing, and, you know, I want to look and be able to show. But, I mean, look at that sign, those signs swinging. Look at that, slapping up to the roof. Do you see that, Marshall, those yellow signs? That's that wind pulling in the garage. All right, after the break, we're going to check back in with Jim. I know he had to reposition and find out where he is and what his situation is right now. So we'll be doing that after the break. We'll be right back.
Can't wait to tell everyone about AT&T's big 5G news.
AT&T has nationwide 5G?
Yep.
And that's faster?
Faster, yeah.
But is it reliable?
Uh-huh, and secure.
You should consider making a big deal about it.
Bigger?
I said bigger.
Oh, bigger deal, bigger than what I'm doing.
It's not complicated. A 5G network needs a 5G device. Now everyone, including existing customers, can get a free Samsung Galaxy Note 20 after trade-in.
That's a buffalo flatbread bullseye for my mouth to aim at. Oh, hiding, huh? The new grilled buffalo chicken papadilla. Tangy buffalo sauce, grilled chicken, and melty cheese for just $6. Papa John's.
When was the last time you really looked out the window? What do you see? The awakening of the rising sun, or light dancing across the mountaintops? Look for a moment longer and you'll see beauties all around us. Like a painting, moving in the wind, speaking to the soul. The world flashing past, still yet to explore. Look out the window. The summer of Jeep is here.
Or get 0% financing for 72 months, plus no monthly payments for 90 days on select 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee models.
Planters is for the cravers. The crunchy, savory cravers. And the cravers that deserve something special. Planters Deluxe Mixed Nuts. Stay satisfied.
You try to stay ahead of the mess, but scrubbing still takes time. Now there's Dawn Power Wash Dish Spray. It's the faster way to clean as you go. Just spray, wipe, and rinse. It cleans grease 5 times faster. Dawn Power Wash. Spray, wipe, rinse.
How do you make a Pinot Noir taste like no other? Start with grapes from 3 California regions. Push flavor in new directions. And put a bear on the label. Made like no other for a taste like no other. Mayomi. Flavor forward.
ThredUp presents The Cure for the Common Closet.
I know that sigh. You're suffering from common closet. Not common closet. But fear not, I have the cure. It's called ThredUp.com. It's the world's largest online thrift store with all of your favorite brands at incredible prices. Check out this J. Crew dress, $14. Boho weekend look, $25. You can pick your favorite colors, styles, brands, and voila!
Enter code NEW for up to an extra 50% off your first order at ThredUp.com.
This is not an ad for a piece of toast, a brown paper bag, or a number 2 pencil. This is not an ad for the mundane. This is an ad for the liberated, the self-determined, the unconstrained, uncontrolled, and unconventional. Touch of modern. For those looking for exceptional and distinctive products curated from around the world. Every day, we bring you the unexpected and extraordinary. Check us out at touchofmodern.com.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat.
We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
winds, Lisa, you were telling me 134. Is that correct? The highest gust that we've seen so far here in Lake Charles? 133 and a half. Okay, so we can round that up. 133 and a half. We've been sustained near 100 miles an hour. And unfortunately, we might stay in that eastern eye wall here, which is worst case scenario. You hear the destruction happening. We are now in the garage. We started off the back of the hotel, then we were inside the hotel because it was just too bad to go outside, and now we're in a garage. We were hoping for the eye, but we might stay in that eastern eye wall. Now, Jim was also outside. I know he has relocated, so we're going to check in with him. He's just one hotel over from me. Jim.
Hey guys, again, I was just talking about producer Steve Hederack. Steph, about your situation. Now, you hadn't lost power from what I heard. We've lost it here, but we do have a generator on, which is why we're getting some of the lights in through. You hear the emergency flashing going on. There's also been an invasion. I was on the eastern side of the building where there's been a big roof collapse there. You can see this area has been compromised. Water is leaking. You can see it down on the floor, on the rug here, where it's coming out of the roof. I don't want to go too close under that, because I don't know, obviously water's piling up there and it's finding a hole to get down to the ground and through here. But basically, I have no idea where this is coming from. Is it a window? Is it a part of the roof that's been torn off and through here as a result of the wind? There's a lot of wind just actually blowing through this hall. There's a hole on one side of the building, and there's two doors here on this side of the building. Come on over here, Brad. And you can see them flapping around toward the outside here. So the air is trying to make its way through. And that's the one thing about wind, certainly. It's going to try and make its way through any way it can. So obviously we retreated in that eye wall, came inside, and this is basically what we found in through here. I don't have any comms right now, but I'm going to go back out as soon as we can get into that eye. And it certainly looks like from the radar that we're in it, but interestingly enough, the winds are still cranking outside, which is rather odd, because from a radar perspective, both on base reflectivity and also base velocity, it looks like we should be calm right now. Steph, what's going on?
So, the problem, the problem is that radar signal, as we were talking about earlier. And so that's the issue, right, of where the radar's coming from and what it's looking like here. Now, I know Jim has lost power, and I know he can't hear me right now, but we actually still have power at our hotel. We actually even have a spare room, so I'm going to tell them they can come over to us and check it out. What we have seen and we've heard of is, I was told there was doors that have been ripped off of the hotel, windows obviously, broken doors. We have some water that's coming down. This is just the entranceway. Sorry, Marshall, to do this to you. Jordan there is going to open the door. You can see that water that is dripping down here. So, you're going to see that type of stuff. Yeah, coming through and seeing some, damage being done. But remarkably, we actually still have power. And it doesn't look like we're going to be getting in that eye. I don't know if we can go back to the studio and we can talk about the fact that I kind of feel like we're still in eye wall, and I don't know if we're going to make it, guys.
Yeah, Steph, Mark here in the studio still. It is such a difficult conversation, because we're looking at this eye from Houston as opposed to the Lake Charles station. The Lake Charles station went down, the Fort Polk station went down, probably a communications issue out of the Lake Charles office, which they left earlier today. So no one really there to troubleshoot it, for good reason, right? Everybody's taking on safety. So if you look at, just this site, you're like, okay, we should be in the all clear. We're not. We're probably getting a skewed view looking at it from the side, and we're actually a lot closer to this eastern eye wall than the views would lead you to believe. And so I think that's why Jim and Steph are both still reporting all of that wind and all that damage that they're hearing ongoing outside, all that water still going, because you're right on that eastern edge. This eye is not cooperating to give you a long break. Maybe a few minutes, Stephanie, but that's about it, because as it is working its way kind of northwest, a little bit of a westward jog still, that eastern side is basically going right over the Lake Charles area.
I just feel like I'd be surprised if we got a break just hearing the wind, because I got to tell you, Mark, it doesn't really feel like it's dying down even at all. I mean, it's been pretty consistent. I mean, maybe it's not as bad, but it's still pretty consistently rough. So we're watching it. I mean, you're hearing the damage that's happening around us, and this is why we're not outside. because there's now debris. This is going to last now, unfortunately, for several more hours, seeing that we're in that eastern eye wall, and then we've got to go through, you know, that second eye wall, the southern eye wall. So, Jim, I don't know if Jim can hear me. I think that his producer is helping cue him. So I'm just going to toss it over. He cannot hear me. All right, I'm just going to toss it over to Jim and crew, and Jim, you guys can take it away.
Oh, no question. Okay. Okay. All right. Mark, we just had you on, and I don't know, because I don't have any communication at this point. If we talked about this eye, it's just kind of weird. I'm looking at radar scope, and I'm like, how could we be getting wind like this still? Maybe you see something I don't see, but either way, the less time we get without a break means the time we won't get any break at all. So we're going to have to deal with the southern side of this thing and then have it come on through. You know, it's just weird because especially a storm of this magnitude, you know, maybe the eye's just collapsing on itself. That's the only thing I can figure. But usually a storm this well defined and of this magnitude, you really do get an eye. I mean, Michael had a clear eye. There were pictures in Michael during the day. Guys, much more to come here on Laura as we prepare here in Lake Charles for the southern eye wall.
At Olive Garden, it's easier than ever to enjoy what you love from us in the comfort of your own home. Order and pay online. Choose from all your favorites. Then bring it all home with Carside Pickup. Only at Olive Garden.
Water?
Water tastes like water, so we fixed it. Mio.
When it's especially important to keep skin clean, keep reaching for Cetaphil. Recommended by dermatologists. Awarded by Allure. And most of all, loved by skin. Cetaphil, the cleanser sensitive skin loves.
COPD makes it hard to breathe. So to breathe better, I started Once Daily Anoro. COPD tries to say go this way. I say I'll go my own way with Anoro.
Once Daily Anoro contains 2 medicines called bronchodilators that work together to significantly improve lung function all day and all night. Do not use Anoro if you have asthma. Anoro won't replace rescue inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than once a day. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition, high blood pressure, glaucoma, prostate, bladder, or urinary problems. These may worsen with Anoro. Call your doctor if you have worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain while taking Anoro. The most common side effects are sore throat, diarrhea, and pain in the arms and legs.
Ask your doctor about Once Daily Anoro to start treating your COPD.
We're here for you during this challenging time, and always find support at Anoro.com.
Shake it, kiddo. Love, comma, dad.
I've got this. Kellogg's Rice Krispies treats. A little love when it's needed.
Daddy, what's that big moving house thing?
It's a motorhome, Junior. Modern invention.
Modern invention? We carried our homes with us since, like, forever.
Yeah, but humans have Geico to protect them. Something goes wrong, they're covered. What do we have?
What could go wrong? Ooh, a feather.
A feather? Duck, Junior!
That's no duck, Daddy. That's a vulture!
Geico for RVs. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
When you have depression, it can plunge you into deep, dark lows and can leave you feeling extremely sad and disinterested. Overwhelmed by bipolar depression? Ask about Vraylar. Not all types of depression should be treated the same. Vraylar effectively helps relieve all symptoms of bipolar depression with just 1 pill once a day. Elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. Metabolic changes may occur. Nausea, restlessness, and movement dysfunction are common side effects. When bipolar depression overwhelms, ask how Vraylar can help.
That's the wind howling and a satellite truck rocking in the wind, and I'm told that those weigh about 2 tons. All right, so that just tells you how strong it is. We've had winds gusting to 134 here in Lake Charles, and I don't think we are going to get out of the eye wall. On your satellite, or I should say on the radar, it looks like we're going to go into the eye. But the fact is that all the radars are down here. And so we have to use the radar from Houston in order to, get that radar. So the angle at which it's hitting the storm is going to make, Houston's quite a ways for a radar. And so that's the problem. Just to give you an update of what's going on with us if you're just tuning into our coverage here. We have moved now to the front side of the building and the parking garage at our hotel because the doors have all been locked in the back. There have been windows that have been blown out, the curtains flying out of people's rooms. That's how bad it is. One of our photographers went up to the 3rd floor of this parking garage, and he said that water is starting to really pool up on the 3rd floor because all the wind is just blowing in all the rain and there. And then you've just been hearing all the destruction that's going on around us. And, Mark, we just feel safer back in this corner instead of going onto the edge. I might try to do that. It seems like the winds, I don't want to say have calmed down, but they seem a touch calmer. Yeah. And so I might try to venture that way, but we'll see. I'm going to assess it.
Yeah, just be careful because we know how much debris is out there, and it really won't take much wind now to pick that up and send it flying again, send it airborne. Just to, again, as you mentioned, get everyone caught up to speed on what has already occurred. Lake Charles gusting officially at about 134. There were some weather stations, local stations in like people's yards that gusted, a report of a gust to 137 in Lake Charles. So there's some verification there. Calcasieu Pass was gusting to 121. The surge there, topping out in Calcasieu Pass a little over 9 feet. Some good news there. It's come down a little bit in the past hour or so, now down to 7.64. But gosh, 9 feet's enough, and it doesn't mean that everyone only saw 9 feet. There could have been areas off to the east that were actually more kind of optimized for that water push. So, 7+, 9+ is what we'll call it right now. That's just the last observation site. And then there is still a tornado threat with this, Steph. I want to quickly mention that we have a tornado warning off to the east side in this band, not too far from Morgan City, Iberia, St. Martin, and St. Mary until 3 a.m. The rotation within here, pretty impressive at this point. Couplet right in here, should stay just outside of Franklin, but could go north quickly to New Iberia. So, Steph, the New Iberia area has to watch out for a fast-moving spin-up tornado.
Mark, I can't find it on my notes. What did Cameron gust to again? What's the highest gust you remember seeing in Cameron so far? Because we're going to take our viewers there with a camera that was set.
The Cameron into the Calcasieu Pass area, I saw a gust of 121. That was the highest that I've seen in that area. But it's possible that some of the...
talking to me. Give me one more time, Mark,
what Cameron? 121 at Calcasieu Pass, but it's possible that the site did not report all of the wind because we know that it was stronger than that in Lake Charles. It doesn't make sense for Calcasieu Pass to be lower than that. Sometimes the equipment breaks as the big winds come through.
Yeah, and especially since we had 134 here, and they have a lot less friction down there. But, cameras are failing, obviously, in this type of weather, and it's due to the wind. This is essentially like a tornado going through, like a very massive tornado. So we do have new video in of a camera. I'm told this is Lake Charles, though I thought Suttis' camera was actually down in Cameron. Are you sure it's Lake Charles, Lisa? Because I thought he had a camera in Cameron. Okay, well, apparently the one in Lake Charles also went down. Okay, he has multiple. Okay, that's good to know. I was not aware of that. Thank you. So Lake Charles and also in Cameron, and both those cameras actually are down because I know the one in Cameron, Louisiana also went down, and it's obvious why. When you have winds gusting 120, 130 miles an hour, and it's, you know, consistently sustained around 100, that is going to do some significant damage. And unfortunately, you can hear it happening all around us. You hear the whistling of the wind as well around us here. And we're going to continue to show you not only what's happening at the coast, but also as we go inland. For those of you who are watching in northern Louisiana, Arkansas, towards Missouri, and Kentucky as well. So we will continue to follow this storm for you and give you updates all through the night, round the clock, right here on the Weather Channel. We'll be back with more after we take a very short commercial break.
Here's to the doers. To all the people who realize they can do more with less asthma. Thanks to Dupixent, the add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma. Dupixent isn't for sudden breathing problems. It can improve lung function for better breathing in as little as 2 weeks and help prevent severe asthma attacks. It's not a steroid, but can help reduce or eliminate oral steroids. Dupixent can cause serious allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis. Get help right away if you have rash, shortness of breath, chest pain, tingling, or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection. And don't change or stop your asthma treatments, including steroids, without talking to your doctor. Are you ready to do more with less asthma? Talk to your asthma specialist about Dupixent. If your financial situation has changed, we may be able to help.
Yeah, I'm married. Doesn't matter. You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Hey, do they ever ask you what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Red sweater, button-down shirt. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
So Dish lets you share your TV with your family on multiple devices. Why?
Sweetie, forgot something.
Thank you. Because we know one thing's for sure. It's a little less scary leaving home when you can take a little bit of it with you.
Share your TV on 5 devices, no extra charge. Dish, tuned in to you.
Summer is here. So it. Here are the rules for summer this year. Lays are preferred. Pants are optional. Backyards, bathtubs, and patios are always open. And snack time is anytime. Recipes are better with Cheetos. Tostito salsa goes with everything. And bedtime? What's a bedtime? Yeah, summer rules. Frito-Lay, let's summer.
Find your keys. Find your get up and go. Find pants that aren't sweats. Find your friends. Find your sense of wonder. Find the world is new again. At Chevy, we'd like to take you there. Now, during the Chevy Open Road Sales Event, get up to 15% of MSRP cash back on select 2020 models. That's over $5,700 cash back on this Equinox. It's time to find new roads again.
Showing you a video that we're getting into the Weather Channel, and we're going to get more and more video into the Weather Channel as we've been live all night long, taking you through landfall in Cameron, Louisiana, or near Cameron, Louisiana, I should say. Winds here, gusting up to 134 miles an hour, and we have taken protection now in the parking garage as it's just too dangerous to be outside with all the debris that's flying around. So we are tucked into a garage. We have our other crews. We have 3 other crews here, and and everyone is looking for a safe spot to be able to bring you the best pictures. But it is safety first. It has always been that. I've been at the Weather Channel nearly 20 years, and it is always whatever it is for your crew to be safe is all that matters to us. And so that's the rule we live by at this network. And so, I mean, I can see Jordan Steele and his crew walking off. I see Tevin Wooten behind me setting up. He's going to pick up coverage and carry coverage starting at 5 a.m. But right now, we've been going since 11, and so we're kind of tucked back in. And Mark, I will say the winds have died down a little bit. It is not raging like it was. Now, obviously, we're going to get that second eye wall, but where exactly are we? I guess we're on the eastern eye wall. I haven't looked at a radar in a bit. Maybe you can give me an idea of what is happening right now.
Yeah, gosh, you are basically at the midpoint of the eye, but on that eastern edge of it. So you're now getting to the latter half of that eye passing, but you're right on the edge of what would be quieter conditions just west of you versus compared to where you are. And then you'll stay on that eastern side before the rest of the southern eye wall then swings in and fills in. You'll have another batch of heavy rain and winds that then switch going west to east on that south side.
Okay, so how much longer do we have, I guess, until those stronger winds pick up? And it's not just only for us. And I know that this hurricane is going to morph as it goes north, but you know, how much time do you really have from that northern eye wall until you're hit with that southern eye wall overall?
Yeah, so far from the passing of the edge of that northern eye wall to you has been about half an hour. I think you have about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes until that second half of the eye comes through. Although again, this is all skewed. These lines that I just drew are actually more like out here because we're watching this from far away. This is the Houston radar, not the Lake Charles radar. Right. So these lines are off to the side. But for people that are west of Lake Charles, that is the break that they are getting right now. It's about an hour or so inside that eye. But I think what you were getting at is that this does not end here, and we can quickly move this forward to show where these winds go. And as we work our way through the rest of the overnight to tomorrow, to the morning really of Thursday, 7 a.m., we're still forecasting 90 to 100 mile per hour wind gusts on the eastern side of the eye. Could be going right through Alexandria, maybe just west from there, and then continuing up to that corridor between Shreveport to Monroe. The I-20 corridor could have hurricane force winds with wind gusts up to 85 or so through noon on Thursday. This is a long duration event just to get through Louisiana, and we're not done there, Stephanie.
All right, so now we're going to, Mark, thank you for all that. Really, really appreciate it, and your analysis as well. Now I want to go over to Jim. He hasn't been able to hear me for a while, so I'm just going to straight toss and say, Jim, take it away, and I know someone will hopefully cue him to go.
Go ahead, Jim. Okay, we got enough strength to actually open up one of the doors here and get outside. It's amazing, we could not even open one of the doors to get outside, but I'm just under this overhang in front of LaBerge. You can see some of the damage to some of the trees here. Some of them look a lot more stripped of their leaves. Not surprising. We had an unofficial gust of 137 miles an hour in the Lake Charles area. So no question, damage there. If there's any potential silver lining, we may have not seen some of the water rise that we expected, but you remember we got a high tide at 6 a.m. We're going to have southerly winds at that point, and that certainly could cause. Oh wow, we got some damage right here. What is this, Brad? It certainly could cause the water to stay up, is what I was trying to finish there. I don't know if that's a part of an air conditioning cover or some type of unit, but that's been blown off the roof, and you can see, obviously that has come down from high of the building. There is damage inside LaBerge right now. On the eastern end, we've got really a whole wall that's collapsed and water has been pouring in there. We showed you the shot here on the other end where we also have water that's kind of pooling up above the roof that's coming in as well. And of course, not surprising, debris like this where you get large chunks of trees. And a lot of landscape trees here. Okay, I can see branches broken off of some of those. We got more branches down here. Otherwise, though, the wind just continues right now out of the southeast. So that tells me we are on the eastern side of this eye wall. The reason I think I'm standing out here, frankly, is because we're kind of teetering in and out of the eye a little bit. So it's giving us enough to get out here. So I'm not blocked from the wind anymore. And this is what I was planning on for our live shots. The southeast wind here with that eastern eye wall is coming this way. And so that's what we're getting right now. But we're not getting the full part of it because we've gotten, again, kind of on the western edge of it, or probably just outside it, frankly. I don't think we're in it. So here's the deal. Storm's going to continue to head to the northwest. We will eventually get in on the southeast, or on the southern part of this. That means winds will change direction. They will come around from the west at that point, so they'll come through it this way, and certainly could be over 100 miles an hour in gusts there as well. This is still a very good-looking storm from even the last radar image that I saw back an hour ago. So there's no reason why we couldn't continue to ramp up the wind potential here, the wind damage potential. And that's one thing. What blow the storm this way, now we'll turn around and blow all the trees that way. And structures as well that may have not got hit on that side, get it from the other way. Stick around.
Three weeks and still no sign of our elusive subject. So today, we brought a little enticement. Devour buffalo chicken mac and cheese. There he is. What a magnificent beast. Once he locks onto his prey, it's all but over. Oh, wow. It's a female.
Ryan!
Looks like she's the alpha.
Typical.
Eat like an animal. Devour.
That's a buffalo flatbread bullseye for my mouth to aim at. Oh, hiding, huh? The new grilled buffalo chicken papadilla. Tangy buffalo sauce, grilled chicken, and melty cheese for just $6. Papa John's.
This summer, we've all got miles to make up. Miles to the job site, to the campsite, and anything else we set our sights on. Miles that take us back to the people we've missed, and to those who could make this summer mean more than ever before. Get the most out of those miles during the Ram Summer Clearance event.
Target's same-day delivery. Contactless delivery right to your door, designed for your day, so you can work out. Join in. And game on. Just download the Target app and try it today.
Well, it's time for wrinkles. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair. We've got the retinol that gives you results in 1 week. Not just any retinol, accelerated retinol SA for not only smoother skin in 1 day, but younger looking skin in just 1 week. And that's clinically proven. Results that fast, or your money back. Unless you're attached to your wrinkles. 1 week, it's all it takes. Neutrogena.
For kitchens broken in by new chefs, bathrooms sinking battleships, garages built for getting stronger, and patios that stay open all night. Protect the pure joy of home with Terminix. Our experts are committed to keeping pests like rodents, roaches, spiders, and mosquitoes out of your home. Always backed by the Terminix promise to protect your home for all the love it holds.
Being a patient with diabetes myself, I can say without question that the Dexcom system is the most powerful tool to help navigate diabetes better on a daily basis.
I love it. I just wear a little sensor and that's it. It's totally painless and private.
The Dexcom sends my glucose readings to my receiver every 5 minutes. I just pull it out of my pocket and look, and I don't have to prick my finger.
Dexcom puts you in control, not your diabetes.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat.
We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Yeah, we want to show you what has happened here and some of the damage. An RV has been flipped over on its side. And that's just, you know, what we can get to, because right now it is just too dangerous to start driving around and looking at damage here. But that's video that was taken by Charles Peak, who's driving around just right around the hotels for us. And we come back out, oh, this is live. Okay, this is live, excuse me. Live of an RV flipped over. And then that's some of the damage that we could show you as we come back out live. Some sort of box truck that is flipped over on the side. We have now made our way to the edge of the parking garage that actually is close to where Cantori's Hotel is. So that's Cantori's Hotel off in the distance. You see they have no power. Shockingly, our generators are working at our hotel. I tried to get... Jim can now hear me. Okay, Jim, you know, I'm curious as where you are. We're on the edge. I'm literally at the front of your hotel, at the edge of my parking garage, where that box truck is flipped over. Have you seen that damage? Because that's where we're located. And by the way, we still have power and we have an extra room. So feel free for you guys all to come over and get in that extra room. It's quite large. You guys could all fit in it. So Jim's audio has gone, but you see we're on the edge. Obviously the winds have calmed down a little bit here, but this isn't over. We still have to go through that southern eye wall. So those winds are going to pick up yet again. So let's go to Mark to talk more about that. And Mark, I mean, you can tell, I know you've been with us all night long, quite a difference here in the winds outside than what they were, you know, an hour or two ago.
It's a far cry. I mean, we had gusts in Lake Charles estimate to 137. They were steadily ramping up through that northern edge of the eye wall. You're going to get the southern edge, won't be quite that strong, but the weakened parts are going to then be hit from a different direction. I'm worried about more damage. We're starting to see some reports from downtown near the Civic Center of windows blown out on some of the big buildings, like the big bank buildings there, with lots of the windows blown out. So, gosh, there is going to be a long cleanup to go in the Lake Charles area. I want to go back now to Jim. Jim, you know, the hotels are getting hit hard, the big buildings are getting hit hard, the damage is just still ramping up, and then we have the whole south side to go.
I know, you know what, and it's like a loose tooth, Mark. What you didn't get wiggling this way, you wiggle back the other way, and there it goes. We're still cranking out here. We're definitely not in any kind of a clean eye whatsoever. Maybe occasionally, I think the only reason, frankly, we got out the door is the fact that we kind of got just a little lull there where we may have just gotten a squeak into the edge. So where we are positioned in terms of the city of Lake Charles is we're just to the west of it. So, you know, in this case, that's better because farther west is the actual center and certainly a much calmer part of this. But unfortunately, for places like Lake Charles downtown, they're right in the teeth of that eye wall, and it continues to be an issue. Again, we've had damage here. We've got, I think, one generator on inside right now in terms of what we got, but everybody's okay. And you know, it's just the most eerie feeling going through that eye wall. I mean, you feel the whole building. It's like somebody's squeezing it from the outside. It's amazing. Steph, how did you guys make out? I haven't even talked to you since you went through that thing, with the eye wall.
Jim, say that one more time.
Yeah, I just said, I mean, I haven't really talked to you since you went through the eye wall as well, and we all had to retreat. How did you guys make out?
Yeah. So, Jim, what happened to us, and by the way, I'm curious, I'm going to answer that, but don't go anywhere, because what happened to us is we had to come inside, they shut all the doors, and then we did live shots inside our hotel for a minute, and now we're in the garage on the front side. And speaking of Jim, I can see your hotel now. So I was curious as where you are, because I'm on the garage looking at the front of your hotel. The power is out, and I want to make sure that the note has gotten to you. We actually have a spare room that's quite large that all of you guys could fit in if you want to get over to our hotel tonight or tomorrow. We still have power here. So I just wanted to let you know that is available. But where are you actually?
Thank you. We're in the front side. There's this huge overhang that you may not be able to see it because I think there's a part of this hotel step that kind of wraps around and blocks your view. I don't know if you can see any of Brad's light. Okay. Brad, like shine a light on a tree or on the arm of one of the parking posts that keep you out of the parking lot. I don't know if you can see any of that light, but I don't think that light goes far enough to reach around the side of the building that shows you where we are. But we're kind of wrapped around in front away from you. But either way, you know, again, we're going to deal with winds, like Mark was saying, coming in from the other side as we deal with this southern eye wall. What does that do to you in your position right now? Let's talk about that. What are winds from the west now going to do for you?
Okay, so that actually will be a little blocked. Well, because of where we are, and so that west wind will be coming from a different direction, Jim. So we will be a little bit sheltered here in the garage, but it'll probably coming right at your face is my guess, because it's coming from us right directly into your hotel.
Steph, actually, we'll be a little blocked as well when it comes around from the west. But, you know, that's the one thing. Do those winds swirl? Do they come in from a direction you didn't anticipate? That's always the possibility when wind goes in and around buildings. Guys, we are going to continue to cover Laura, a major hurricane making landfall at 1 o'clock this morning in Cameron, Louisiana.
Little choices make a big difference, like delicious fruits and veggies. However you healthy. Naked.
How do you make a Pinot Noir taste like no other? Start with grapes from 3 California regions. Push flavor in new directions. And put a bear on the label. Made like no other for a taste like no other. Maomi. Flavor forward.
I am Robert Strickler. I've been involved in communications in the media for 45 years. I've been taking Prevagen on a regular basis for at least 8 years. For me, the greatest benefit over the years has been that Prevagen seems to help me recall things and also think more clearly. And I enthusiastically recommend Prevagen. It has helped me an awful lot.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
It takes a relentless attention to detail, a passion to protect people from the elements. But most of all, it takes a commitment to comfort in any conditions. At the Weather Channel, our gear means everything. And whatever the weather, you'll find us there, proudly wearing Land's End. Because Land's End stands for quality in everything they make, so we know they can stand behind us. The official outfitter of the Weather Channel is Land's End. Let's get comfy everywhere.
Hey, come on down to our Flash Superstore. We have the best deals on refrigerators, microwaves, gas ranges, and grills. And if you're looking for
Our 12-step process provides 100% pure quality water.
Earn box tops for your school with Nestle Pure Life. Available across these fun packs.
Tuck, you want to walk?
Come on, Tucker, let's go.
Tuck, want to walk, boy?
Tucker, you want to go out?
When the whole family needs an excuse to get out, Neutro's Clean Recipe will help your dog keep up.
At Olive Garden, it's easier than ever to enjoy what you love from us in the comfort of your own home. Order and pay online. Choose from all your favorites. Then bring it all home with Carside Pickup. Only at Olive Garden.
Domino's knows delivery, so when we asked our team members how to make carry-out more convenient, they had thoughts.
Frisbee.
That's a thought.
Deliver it.
Even better. Introducing Domino's Carside Delivery. Just pull up, check in online, and we bring your food to you. It's carry-out delivered.
On the road again.
Book 2 separate qualifying stays and earn a free night. The open road is open again, and wherever you're headed, Choice Hotels is there. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Okay, guys, back in front of LaBerge here, Lake Charles, Louisiana, taking a major hit from this hurricane here. Unofficial wind gusts, 137 miles per hour at a personal weather station. Wouldn't surprise me. This thing came in as a 150-mile-an-hour hurricane. Cameron, Louisiana, 1 o'clock landfall, according to the Hurricane Center. We never got in. Nab was absolutely right. We never got in the eye wall here, or the eye center, I should say. All we've been dealing with is the eye wall. There's been occasional drift on the eastern side of that, but right now our winds are very much out of the southeast, okay? Or actually almost due south, really. So now we've got the eastern eye wall that we're dealing with. What we'll see on the bottom side of this is the winds will start to shift around. and they'll start to come around from the west. So they're going to come from that direction. So like Steph, and she'll tell you this, we may be blocked from this. But we certainly want to take you guys through this. We know that there's been damage in downtown Lake Charles. I have no idea how high the water got with this particular situation. So that's unclear. Obviously, it's dark. If Charles Peak comes back here, because he's out kind of sitting around, kind of looking and monitoring the situation to see what he's seen in terms of the water. So that I can't tell you about, but I do know we've had damage to our hotel as well. We've lost power here. That was just about the time, believe it or not, of landfall in Cameron, Louisiana, is when we lost power, because if they're getting the center of the hurricane in Cameron, here we are 30 miles north with about a 30-mile wide eye. Yeah, we're in the eye wall. So that really made sense as to how and when we lost the power around 1 o'clock this morning. There has been some attempt to kick one of the generators on, but you know, frankly, the GM here says, look, I'm not sending my guys out in this. We'll wait till it's over and at least calms down enough where they can get out there safely. So obviously great, you know, pre-planning in how this was going to go down in terms of telling people at the hotel to shelter in their rooms, close their shades, do not go near the windows, because we do know that parts of this building have been compromised. We've shown them to you. You can see some of the debris here behind us go in through here, and we've also had water coming in the building at least on a couple of sides of it. So there is damage here to LaBerge as a result of this major Category 4 hurricane moving in. All right, so Steph, I don't know if you've had a chance to go around inside. I know you said you had power. Is that generator power? My thinking is you probably got a generator power going on over there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we have generator power. And Jim, I got to tell you, I think we're in the eye here. We're in part of the eye because it's not raining. I don't know where you are, but these clouds are racing across. We have pretty clear skies above us. I mean, I think we're in part of the eye here.
Steph, what I think's happening is we're kind of drifting. I don't know if we're in the worst of the eastern eye wall, okay? As a matter of fact, I don't think we are, because I wouldn't be able to stand here and my hat would not be on my head. So I think we're kind of drifting on that western edge a little bit, kind of in and out of it, and I think that's about as close as we're going to get, really. Who knows?
I agree.
Maybe we'll get lucky.
I agree, but I mean, we are definitely getting a piece. We're getting a piece of that eye, because like you said, look, there's no rain. If you look at the radar, that eastern eye wall is like pouring out, right? And so I do think we've made it into the eye of this hurricane. Are we in the dead center? No. But we are in part of the eye, because, you know, I don't know if it shows up on camera, but Jim, I mean, there are some clear skies and there's no rain.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, because let's face it, Steph, we still got 100 miles an hour in that eye. You or I will not be standing out here. You know, I'm sorry, in the eye wall. So that's why I'm saying, you know, we're a partial part of that eye, absolutely. I totally agree with you there. But the other thing, too, is remember, Lake Charles's radar is down, and the fact that you're looking at this from Houston means it's all skewed. I mean, I don't think we're seeing really what we're looking at, if you will, underneath us.
Yeah, I agree, but here's the thing, Jim. We still have to go through that second eye wall. We're not going to be able to escape that, regardless of, you know, what we're dealing with right now. This is a bit of a break, and we're going to have to go through that back half. And now that all this debris is around, Jim, I don't know if you know, I know you're not too far from me here, but there's a white box truck that's dumped over in the parking lot. Have you been able to see that from your location? Because that's right about where we are.
Wait, a box truck at the LaBerge or your place? Oh, I'm hearing glass.
Yeah. No, at your place. Yeah, in your parking lot.
Okay, so what there was back there is okay, kind of a catering trailer, and I think maybe that catering trailer is what what you may be seeing back there. Maybe that I'm just guessing, Steph, because I haven't walked back there to see it, but maybe, you know, if we take a break or whatnot, I'll try and walk back there. But it is rather dark in the hotel as well at this time, and I kind of feel glad that I have communication right out here. Either way, we'll try and get that for you at some point during this. But like the fact that the storm is moving northwest, okay, and we're already in at least a section of that eastern eye wall means that we're not going to get in the eye. The eye's west of us at this point. So we're going to have to deal with the southern eye wall, as you've been saying, and certainly that's going to lead to more damage. What you didn't get whacked with the east winds, you have a chance to get it on the west winds. And the other thing too, Steph, is that's going to move water in different positions. So where we may have pushed water out before with an east wind, now we push it back west with the west wind. So that may actually cause more flooding with that change in wind direction.
I agree with you on that because, you know, I was back there the whole time on that Calcasieu River, and basically the wind, so it was coming from the east, it was kind of pushing everything out. And so now with that shift, you know, you're going to get different effects from that. And so that's something you have to watch closely, and why every neighborhood is different. And we do our best to tell you, if you're on this side of the storm, this is what will happen. If you're on that side of the storm, this is what's going to happen. And those winds are shifting around, not just where we are in Lake Charles, Jim, you know, but also that western eye wall, right? They are also going to see things shifting around too. We're on the east side, but there's people on the west side. And by the way, this is going in, and it's not really winding down very quickly.
No, it's not. And we showed everybody that today, right, Steph, on the models, how we still had some semblance of a circulation center all the way up through Arkansas into maybe even in western Kentucky. There was, I mean, you could say, well, that's kind of what's left of the eye or the center of circulation. So not surprising, you know, this thing isn't going to wind down. It's going to cause damage all the way up in through Arkansas. There's so much timber. There's so much softwood up in this area. I just can't imagine the kind of damage that we're going to see all the way up. And, you know, Mark Elliott can answer this better than we can. Mark, what do you think when we come back to you, if you're listening, what kind of a hit is Shreveport going to take? Because it looks like if the center's going to go right over them, are they going to take a Cat 1 or 2 hurricane in that area?
Yeah, gosh, it is going to be a wind event that goes all the way up through the state. This is going to be something that people talk about for years, I'm afraid, Jim, because it's going to take from now, basically right over you guys. You guys are on that just inside that eastern edge. It's going to go up towards Alexandria in the next 3 to maybe 4 hours. And by noon, so we'll watch that, you know, and you know, still with 90-mile-per-hour winds going through Alexandria, 95-mile-per-hour gusts, not out of the question, to I-20 somewhere. Now this model is kind of splitting the difference. We've seen some go right over Shreveport. We've seen some closer to Monroe. I think it might be a little bit off to the west from where this model is depicting it, but the timing is good. Somewhere around noon,
but
still talking about hurricane force winds all the way to I-20.
Right, exactly. And like I was talking about, Mark, all the fact that we have so much pine in that area. And Abrams, I know you can smell this too, where you are, just an extensive aroma, sadly, of timber. We can smell the damage. You can see the damage behind me, you know, to these live oaks that are sitting down here. And that's actually a hardwood. So that was a, you know, landscape tree that was put here. So there's gonna, I'm in fear of the timber industry down and through here and what we may see in terms of damage, all the way up through Louisiana for that matter.
All right. All right, so let's go back into Mark and talk more about that. Mark, as this goes inland, you know, there's a lot of trees that are going to be taken out by this. I mean, and I'm talking from Arkansas to Tennessee to Kentucky to Missouri and then all the way into the mid-Atlantic, this thing.
Oh, my goodness. This is a long duration event for the inland areas, going all the way through portions of Arkansas, as you mentioned, but then it doesn't stop there. Cuts through Kentucky and Tennessee into the mid-Atlantic, still with strong winds, and we know how the tree canopy changes as we go in that direction. Combine at least some winds plus a front that's approaching with, you know, a widespread 1 to 2 inch rainfall there, but some areas that could overachieve that easily, getting into the 3 to 5 inch range. Then you've got saturated grounds. Then you've got all that wind on top of that. I think that will be a tree problem, a power line problem that actually continues in western and central Kentucky, maybe the Appalachian chain, an outside chance that we still have a tropical storm off the mid-Atlantic coast.
Mark, essentially we can just use the cone as a reference for possible power outages, right?
Absolutely. At this point, you have to assume that there will be at least some chance of power outage issues all through the path. That means coastal New England could have power issues from this Saturday night because of really the squeeze play that'll be going on at that point, Jim, with the low, whatever's left from Laura and high pressure to the north. We're really going to have a strong pressure gradient for the northeast.
Yeah, and you know, Mark, it's just interesting because we remember with Isaias how we got a nice injection of a mid-latitude jet into that thing, and we had just as strong a winds on the Jersey Shore that we had down in Landfall in southeast North Carolina. So there will be some injection. It will not be 100 knots. We know that this time. But we could actually see the winds go down and then come. I'm sorry, guys. When I hear stuff, I want to move. Well, I'm just going to be off camera here for a second. So, Mark, to continue the question with you, you know, we could actually see the winds come down, then increase, right?
Absolutely, and that's because it meets up with the front, and so we stretch out what's left from Laura along that front a little bit. It starts to really widen out by the time we get into Saturday, really overnight Friday into Saturday through central Kentucky into central Tennessee. We then follow that along the front, going through the day Saturday all the way to the Appalachian chain and beyond. And because of that squeeze play that we talked about, there is at least a decent chance that we're going to have some impacts all the way off the mid-Atlantic coastline. And again, as Jim mentioned, we can follow that cone all the way towards the mid-Atlantic coast. So yes, we're still going to have an increasing wind. Notice these numbers, right? We might not be tropical at this point. It might not be a tropical storm, 35, maybe even 40 miles per hour coming off the coast, maybe subtropical, maybe some sort of hybrid system. It might be non-tropical for that matter, Steph, as we watch this for our friends in the mid-Atlantic. Gosh, an increasing wind because of that squeeze play, that's going to be something to watch through the weekend as well.
All right, so we're back out here. We're getting set. Don't worry about it, Marshall. Just our photographer's getting set. You know, I'm looking at the radar. Mark, I really do think we did get a bit of the eye, but the winds are now starting to pick up again. And I believe we're about to get into that second part of the eye wall, but I do feel we got a little bit of that eye here because I did see some clearing. But I can tell a noticeable difference in those winds now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you definitely were right on the edge. Gosh, a mile off to your west, and you would have had calm to, you know, maybe 10, 15 mile per hour winds instead of the winds that were keeping you inside for most of this eye passing because it was just too dangerous to be out there with even a little bit of wind considering the damage. But you're right, we have about maybe 20 minutes, maybe even a little bit less for your location before we start to see that wind shift coming more westbound and really pick up from there. The southern edge is still seeing wind reports when it came through the Cameron area gusting to 90 to 100. I don't think you'll get quite that high, but it'll be high enough to cause damage again from a different wind direction for anything that was weakened the first time.
And how fast is this moving right now? I haven't looked in a while. I mean, I know it's coming in around 15 miles an hour. Has it sped up? A lot of times, you know, once it makes landfall, it either really slows down, right, like a Harvey, or it feels the influence from a trough and it speeds up and gets picked up. What are we seeing with this one? What is the forward motion right now?
Yeah, so far it's neither of those. It is basically holding steady at 15 miles per hour. The official ob is moving due north. There's still a little bit of a westward jog compared to due north, but it will eventually turn that western wiggle, if it's there at all at this point, will go due north and eventually
those numbers been like?
They've been really spotty, to tell you the truth. I think some of the ops stations were having a real hard time getting information out, right? There's comm issues from the Doppler radars. There's comm issues from some of the METAR sites. There's so much rain still to come that I think we're going to have to just wait. We're going to have to wait that out because on that big curl off to the north and east, even though we're picking up speed, Little Rock still forecast to have 5 to 8 inches of rain. 5 to 8 in Little Rock, okay? So that means, Steph, that there's a lot more to go.
Yeah. there is a lot more to go, and there's still a lot more here, and we're going to take you through it, and we'll also be there for you after the storm. So what's going to happen now is we're going to go back into that eye wall. We will continue to bring you live reports, again, so long as it's safe to do so, and we have the ability to with our signal. So far, we've been able to do that. Hopefully that'll stay true so you guys can see what it's like to go through that backside of a Category 4 hurricane.
Frisky's World. Look at that!
It's made with real farm-raised chicken.
I gotta get my paws on that.
It's Frisky's farm favorites.
The winning formula.
Feed their fantasy.
Frisky's. Look, Frisky's ocean favorites. Yum!
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning. Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Whether holding down the fort or bouncing back to school, childhood is always in session. So keep feeding us right with Sun-Made snacks. Just like when you were a kid. Delicious, made with whole fruit, Sun-Made.